I still remember the sound the snow made that night. Not the soft whisper of falling flakes, but the violent howl of wind tearing through the pines like a wounded animal. It was February 1994, and I'd been a forest ranger in northern Minnesota for 15 years. I thought I'd seen everything these woods could throw at me. I was wrong. The call came in around midnight. A stranded motorist, Route 71, near the old logging road. I grabbed my gear and headed out into what the Weather Service was calling a historic blizzard. Visibility was maybe 10 feet. The cold bit through every layer I wore, turning my breath to ice crystals before it left my mouth. I never found that motorist. What I found instead changed everything. At first, I thought it was a deer carcass, partially buried in a snowdrift. But as my flashlight swept across it, I saw a small hand, blue-white and perfectly still. My heart stopped. I ran, falling twice in the deep snow, and started digging with my bare hands. It was a child. A boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old, wearing nothing but torn pajamas. His lips were purple, his skin like marble. No pulse I could find. I ripped off my coat and wrapped him tight against my chest, running back to my truck with everything I had. Come on, kid. Come on. I cranked the heat to maximum, rubbing his arms, his legs, breathing warm air onto his face. Don't you dare die on me. 4-5 minutes. Nothing. His body was rigid, frozen. I was reaching for my radio to call it in when his chest suddenly heaved. One breath. Then, another. His eyes snapped open, wide, terrified, impossibly bright even in the darkness. It's okay, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. You're safe now. I've got you. He didn't speak. Didn't cry. Just stared at me with those enormous eyes, like he was seeing something beyond me, beyond the truck, beyond this world. I should have taken him to the hospital. Should have called social services. But something stopped me, some instinct I couldn't name. Instead, I drove straight home to my cabin, wrapped him in every blanket I owned, and sat with him through the night as his body slowly, impossibly, came back to life. By morning, his color had returned. He sat up, looked around my small living room, and spoke his first word to me. Cold. Not anymore, I said, handing him hot chocolate. What's your name, son? Where are you from? He took the mug with both hands, and I noticed something odd. His fingers, which had been frostbitten black just hours before, looked completely normal. Pink. Healthy. Like nothing had happened. Don't remember, he said softly. His voice was strange, slightly hollow, like an echo in a cave. Over the next week, I tried everything. Missing persons reports. Nothing matched. No one looking for a boy his age anywhere in the tri-state area. The police came by, asked questions, but with the storm washing away any tracks or evidence, they had nowhere to start. Child Services was overwhelmed, underfunded. They asked if I could foster him temporarily. Temporarily became a month. Then 6 months. Then I was signing adoption papers, giving him my last name, making it official. I called him Ethan. Ethan Brennan. My son. The first year was hard. He barely spoke, never smiled, and had nightmares that left him screaming in languages I didn't recognize. But slowly, something shifted. He started helping me with ranger duties, learning the forest like he'd been born in it. By the time he was 10, he could track better than men twice his age, could navigate in complete darkness, knew the woods like they were part of him. How do you do it? I asked him once, watching him identify animal prints I could barely see. He shrugged. The forest tells me things, Dad. Dad. That word never stopped making my chest tight. People in town thought I was crazy, raising a kid alone out here. But Ethan was mine. Whatever darkness he'd come from, whatever had left him freezing in that snowdrift, didn't matter. I'd given him life, and he'd given me purpose. Old Joseph from the reservation stopped by one afternoon when Ethan was 12. He watched my son disappear into the tree line, moving with an unnatural grace, then turned to me with worried eyes. Marcus, you know the stories about this forest? Just stories, Joseph. Stories exist for a reason. He gripped my arm. That boy, you found him during the hunger moon. The coldest night in 50 years. Nothing should have survived that. But he did. Did he? Joseph's voice dropped to a whisper. Or did something else survive, wearing his shape? I asked him to leave. I didn't want to hear it. Ethan was my son. Blood didn't make family. Love did. And I loved that boy more than I'd ever loved anything in my life. Ethan turned 23 in February 2017, exactly 23 years after I found him. He'd grown into a strong, quiet young man who worked as a wilderness guide, leading hunting parties through the Northern Territories. He was good at it. Too good, some said. He could track prey no one else could find, new places in the forest that didn't exist on any map. We were sitting on my porch that evening, watching the sunset paint the snow orange and red, when he said something that chilled me deeper than any winter wind. Dad, I need to tell you something. About what I am. I'd been avoiding this conversation for years. The signs had been there, small things I'd explained away. Ethan never got sick. Never. Not a cold, not the flu, nothing. He could stay outside in sub-zero temperatures wearing just a t-shirt. Animals acted strange around him. Deer would freeze, wolves would back away, even bears gave him a wide berth. You're my son, I said firmly. That's all that matters. No. His voice cracked. You deserve the truth. I've been remembering things. Dreams at first, but they're too real. Too detailed. He turned to me, and his eyes. God, his eyes looked so sad. I remember the cold, Dad. Not the night you found me. Before that. I remember being hungry. So hungry it hurt worse than anything. And I remember feeding. My hands started shaking. Ethan. The Wendigo legends. You know them. Everyone in northern Minnesota knew them. Indigenous stories about people who resorted to cannibalism and were transformed into monsters, creatures of endless hunger that stalked the winter forests. But they were just legends. Warnings against the darkness humans were capable of. That's not you, I said. Isn't it? He stood up, pacing. Last month, I led a hunting group into the Boundary Waters. We got separated in a storm. I found one of them the next morning. Found him because I could smell him, Dad. His fear. His blood. And for just a moment. His voice broke completely. For just a moment, I wanted to. But you didn't. I grabbed his shoulders. Whatever you felt, you didn't act on it. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you my son. 3 people have gone missing in these woods in the last year. Experienced hunters. No bodies ever found. The implication hung between us like poison. Tell me you didn't, I whispered. I don't know. He pulled away, his composure shattering. I lose time sometimes. Hours I can't account for. I wake up in the forest with blood under my fingernails and gaps in my memory. What if it's me? What if I'm the thing everyone's been looking for? I wanted to tell him he was wrong, that it was impossible, but the pieces clicked together with horrible clarity. The missing hunters. Ethan's unexplained absences. The way he'd been more withdrawn this winter, sleeping less, or eating differently, somewhere I couldn't see. We'll figure this out, I said, though I had no idea how. There's more. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a photograph, old and water-damaged. I found this in the place where you found me. Went back last week and dug through the snow where I remembered lying. The photo showed a family, a man, a woman, and a small boy who looked exactly like young Ethan. The back had writing, The Hartley Family, 1989. Little James's 5th birthday. James Hartley disappeared with his parents during a camping trip in 1993, Ethan said quietly. They found the parents' remains 6 months later. Coroner said it looked like animal attack, but also, like something had been gnawing the bones. The boy was never found. You think you're I think whatever I am killed that family. Killed the real James Hartley. Then something happened, guilt maybe, or confusion, and it tried to die in the snow. But you saved it. You saved me. The temperature seemed to drop 20 degrees. I looked at my son, this young man I'd raised, taught to fish and hunt, celebrated birthdays with, sat up with during nightmares, and tried to reconcile him with the monster he was describing. I should turn myself in, Ethan said. Or just disappear. Walk into the forest and never come back. No. The word came out harder than I intended. You're not going anywhere. Dad. Listen to me. I grabbed his face, forcing him to meet my eyes. I don't care what you were. I don't care what happened before I found you. For 23 years, you've been my son. You've been good and kind and human. Whatever this hunger is, we'll fight it. Together. What if I can't control it? Then we'll find a way. I pulled him into a hug, feeling him shake against me. I didn't save you from that snow just to lose you now. But even as I said it, I wondered, had I really saved anyone that night? Or had I unleashed something terrible that should have died in the cold? The answer came 2 weeks later, and it came with blood. I was doing a routine patrol near the Canadian border when I got the call, another missing hunter. Dale Whitmore, experienced outdoorsman, last seen heading into the same area where Ethan had been guiding groups. I radioed it in, then made a call I'd been dreading. Ethan, where are you? Silence. Then, the old pine grove. Dad, I can't remember how I got here. My blood turned to ice. The pine grove was 3 miles from Whitmore's last known location. Stay there. Don't move. I'm coming to you. I found him 40 minutes later, sitting against a tree, hands covered in blood. Not his own, I could see no injuries. The blood was fresh, still steaming in the cold air. I don't remember, he whispered, staring at his hands like they belonged to someone else. I was home, making dinner, and then I was here. There's 4 hours missing, Dad. 4 hours. I wanted to comfort him, but movement caught my eye. About 50 yards away, through the trees, I saw something that made my stomach drop. A jacket. Whitmore's bright orange hunting jacket, torn and discarded, and drag marks in the snow, leading deeper into the forest. Ethan. My voice came out strangled. What did you do? I don't know. He stood up, panicked. I swear I don't know. It's like something else takes over. I feel the hunger building, and I try to fight it, but it's so strong. Then everything goes black, and when I wake up. He gestured at the blood helplessly. I followed the drag marks. Every instinct screamed at me to stop, to turn back, to pretend I'd never seen this. But I was a ranger. I'd taken an oath. And if Ethan had really done what the evidence suggested, the marks ended at a hollow beneath an ancient oak. I shone my flashlight inside and immediately wished I hadn't. Bones. Human bones. Picked clean. Not just Whitmore's, there were multiple skeletons here, some clearly older. And in the middle of it all, torn clothing that I recognized. The missing hunters from the last 3 years. All of them. This was a feeding site. Oh, God. I turned to Ethan, who was standing behind me, tears streaming down his face. Oh God, what have you done? I'm sorry. His voice was barely human now, more of a growl. I'm so sorry, Dad. I tried to stop it. I swear I tried. Then I saw his shadow on the snow, cast by my flashlight. And it was wrong. Impossibly wrong. The shadow was too tall, too thin, with antlers like a crowned deer and limbs that bent at angles that shouldn't exist. As I watched, frozen in horror, Ethan's body began to change. His skin turned gray and stretched tight over protruding bones. His fingers elongated into claws. His jaw distended, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth. But his eyes stayed the same. Those same bright, terrified eyes I'd seen in my truck 23 years ago. Dad. The thing that had been Ethan whispered, its voice like wind through dead trees. Please. Kill me. Before I hurt you too. I raised my service weapon, hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it steady. This was the right thing. The only thing. End it now, before anyone else died. Before this monster killed again. But I couldn't. Because when I looked past the nightmare exterior, I still saw my son. The little boy who'd called me Dad for the first time. The teenager who'd helped me rebuild the porch. The young man who'd cried in my arms 2 weeks ago, terrified of what he was becoming. No, I lowered the gun. There has to be another way. There isn't. The Wendigo's body trembled, fighting itself. The hunger never stops. It's taking more control. Soon there won't be anything left of Ethan. Just this. Then we leave. We go somewhere remote, where there's no one for you to hurt. We'll figure out how to manage it. You can't save me, Dad. You should have let me die in that snow. I will never, never regret saving you. I stepped closer, even though every survival instinct screamed to run. You are my son. Monster or not, human or not, you are mine. And I don't abandon my family. The Wendigo made a sound between a sob and a growl. Why? Why won't you just let me go? Because that's what fathers do, I said simply. We hold on. Even when it's hard. Even when it seems impossible. For a moment, the creature's features softened, became more human. Ethan's face emerged through the nightmare, just for a second. I don't deserve you. Probably not, I managed a broken smile. But you're stuck with me anyway. Then I heard voices, other rangers, responding to my earlier check-in. They'd found us. Found the bones. Found the monster. And I had about 30 seconds to make the hardest choice of my life. I did something that night I'll never fully be able to justify, something that haunts me every single day. I helped my son, my monster, escape. I fired my weapon into the air, shouted about the creature heading north, and sent the search party in the wrong direction. Then I helped Ethan, who'd managed to force his transformation back, gather what he needed and disappear into the deepest part of the forest. There's a place, he said, moving with supernatural speed through the trees. Somewhere the hunger feels less. I felt it pulling at me. Maybe 60 miles north, near the old mining camps. No one goes there. No one to hurt. I'll bring you supplies. Every week. We'll make this work. Dad. He stopped, turned to me. Even in his human form, he looked different now. More gaunt, more hollow. The mask was slipping. You know this can't last. Eventually, I'll lose control completely. And when I do, we'll deal with it then. We reached an abandoned mine shaft, its entrance half collapsed. Ethan looked at it like a tomb, which I suppose it was. His tomb. The place where Ethan Brennan would cease to exist. I'm going to tell them I found the killer, I said. That it attacked me and fled toward Canada. They'll search for a while, then eventually close the case. As far as the world's concerned, the creature that killed those hunters is gone. And the real me? Ethan asked quietly. When did that die? Never. I gripped his shoulder. You're still in there. Fighting. That counts for something. Does it? Does it count for anything if I keep killing? I didn't have an answer for that. For 3 months, I kept my promise. Every week, I made the trek to the mine, bringing food, supplies, news from the outside world. Every week, Ethan looked a little less human, a little more like the creature he was becoming. The transformation wasn't sudden, it was a slow erosion, like ice melting to reveal what was always underneath. I can feel it winning, he told me during one visit. The Ethan you raised, he's just echoes now. Memories of being human. Soon even those will be gone. Then we make new memories. Better ones. Reasons to hold on. But I was losing him. We both knew it. The end came in April, during an early thaw. I arrived at the mine to find Ethan, no, the Wendigo, standing at the entrance, fully transformed, waiting for me. But it didn't attack. Instead, it spoke, and its voice was heartbreakingly gentle. Father. That word. After everything, it still called me father. I'm sending you away, it said. There's nothing left of the boy you saved. He wanted me to tell you. He wanted me to thank you. For 23 years of humanity. For teaching him what love felt like. For being the best father anyone could ask for. Ethan. I'm not Ethan anymore. I'm what I was always meant to be. But because of you, because of what you gave me, I can choose what kind of monster I am. The Wendigo tilted its antlered head. I'm going deeper into the wilderness. Beyond where humans travel. I'll hunt only animals, only what I need to survive. The hunger never stops, but I can direct it away from people. That's my choice. The last human thing I can do. Tears streamed down my face. That's not enough. Come back with me. We'll find another way. There is no other way. But this. It gestured to itself, this impossible creature with my son's eyes. This is your legacy. You took a monster and taught it to be human. Even if only for a little while. Even if it couldn't last. That matters, Father. That will always matter. I can't lose you. You never had me. Not really. I was always borrowed time, a ghost wearing a child's shape. But the love was real. What we built together, that was real. Hold on to that. It turned to leave, to walk back into the wilderness where it belonged. But I called out one last time. Ethan. The creature paused. Slowly, painfully, its form shifted. For just a moment, my son stood there, 23 years old, healthy, human. He smiled at me, that same smile from 1,000 mornings ago. Thanks for everything, Dad. For seeing past the monster. For loving me anyway. His voice broke. You gave me the best life I could have asked for. Then he was gone, disappeared into the forest like smoke in the wind. I stood there for a long time, staring at the tree line, hoping he'd come back. But he didn't. The Wendigo had made its choice, and I had to respect it. When I finally turned to leave, I noticed something carved into a tree near the mine entrance. Fresh marks, still bleeding sap. Words in shaky letters, like a child first learning to write. E.B. lived here. He was loved. I visit that spot every year on February 14th, the anniversary of the night I found him. I leave supplies, just in case. Medical kits, preserved food, warm clothing. They're always gone when I return, though I never see who takes them. Sometimes I hear sounds in the deep forest, howls that don't quite match any known animal. And sometimes, just sometimes, I feel like I'm being watched by something that means me no harm. People in town still talk about the mysterious creature that killed those hunters. Some say it's dead, others claim they've seen it in the far wilderness. But no one's been attacked in the 3 years since Ethan disappeared. No more missing persons. No more bodies. My son kept his promise. He learned to be a different kind of monster, the kind that protects instead of prays, that remembers what it means to be human even when humanity is no longer possible. I'm an old man now, probably don't have many years left. When my time comes, I like to think I'll see him one last time. Maybe in the forest, maybe at that mine. Maybe he'll take human form again, just for a moment, and we can say a proper goodbye. Until then, I keep visiting. Keep leaving supplies. Keep holding on to the belief that love can reach anything, even monsters. Even sons who were never quite human to begin with. Because in the end, that's what being a father means. You love them through everything. You never give up. You see the person inside, no matter what shape they wear. And you never, ever regret the choice to save them. That frozen child I found in the snow became my son. And then he became something else. But the love between us? That never changed. That stayed human, even when nothing else could. That's the story. That's my truth. And if anyone asks whether I'd do it all again, knowing how it turned out? Without hesitation. Without question. 1,000 times yes. Because for 23 years, I had a son. And he had a father. And that's worth any price, any consequence, any impossible choice. Even if that son was a Wendigo. Especially because he called me father until the very end.